So let's unpeel some of these layers, maybe, okay? Because behind all these recommendations, there are teams, there are people, okay? Those who manage that algorithm for us, right? For our convenience. So data scientists, okay?
Yeah.
They play huge role now in every large organization, medium size. Let's talk a little bit about that culture, because that's still new. That's very much new, you think?
It is, and the culture is, it is so new. And you know what brings me to have these conversations, do you know that so we're doing a lot of research at AI Truth about corporate AI ethics best practices. And one of the first things you have to do when you're trying to understand, well, what are your practices, is what are your practices? And part of the problem is that a lot of them can't identify a regular routine set of processes that they go through as a group in this, what I call a pod structure, which I keep behind me, which is what that whole big thing is. This is the pod and how it works. But the team members in it individually, they can identify themselves and their own roles. What they don't understand a lot of times is how they go back and forth, some of their interactions amongst the entire group, and how those contribute to the wholeness of a solution that's coming out. They're often involved in these little iterations. And part of that is because some of the team is coming from a business background and they have picked up skills where they've gone to like Coursera, or they've gone to Data Camp or someplace like that, and they've picked up some rudimentary coding skills. But they don't necessarily understand the data behind it, and they don't necessarily understand the larger picture, the larger vision that maybe the person who's funding the solution has. They're being told piecemeal. And we all know how telephone works. Remember the old game of telephone, or some people used to call it Chinese whispers, I think. But it's like where you tell someone something and then you see how far down the line it goes before it changes. That happens in our data science community too. And especially when different parts know parts of it, of the entire solution, but they don't know the whole thing. They don't know what they're contributing to, because they kind of contribute in a assembly line, so to say. So it's been fascinating because you have people from a computer science background that come with their set of norms and their set, and this is where the anthropology in me comes out, because I want to see people interacting and watching them talk past each other, even on their own teams, because they're coming from these very different universes where very different norms and very different values are at play. For data engineers, they're all about the data, and they want to make sure that the data is quality. They want to make sure. Data scientists are like, I just need enough. I just need enough of that data to be right. I just need to feed it with just this much. I don't need like perfect, data. I'll clean it up myself. And the data engineer is like, no, you won't do that. That's wrong. And we have data policies. And then the data scientists are like, that went in one ear and out the other. I don't really care about your data policies. So you've got, I'm just trying to give you like a very colorful example of so many different types of personalities and backgrounds. And then you have computer scientists who are just like, look, I can code anything. Just give me something to work with here and I will code it, or I will go find on GitHub some bits of code that I can use and plug it in. Or I'll find on any open source, I'll go to Kaggle and find a data source that looks good. And this gets us into trouble. These haphazard practices, these loose, undocumented ways of doing things, this is creating Frankenstein AI solutions that nobody can seem to replicate. How did we bring this thing to life? And then to make matters worse in the responsible AI area, those people who create these things often have short tenures with companies. Like the lead data scientists who would know the most about this solution, because they're not one of the ones in the dark developing, in little silos. They're the ones in the middle who are controlling all of the different aspects and working directly with the executive sponsor who may be spending $1 million on this solution or more. And they're leaving within 12 to 18 months. So they have short tenures and they want to go to the next big project. they have no incentive right now to really document what they're doing and really solidify their practices. So the culture is just a hot mess right now. We need help solidifying all the backgrounds, all the norms. And so AI Truth was, we did this corporate AI ethics best practices research to try to understand how can we start to put these tenets of trust, wrap it around the workflow of these people. So the first thing is just showing them back. This is how you've been working, by the way. I think a lot of them don't, they feel it. Like, when you feel like something's just not right, they feel that feeling of contention, but they don't necessarily understand why they feel it, or they don't take time to think about why they're feeling that way and why they're feeling frustrated. And we have a lot of data scientists who are just burned out on this stuff because the behaviors are just off the charts and we're just rushing into things as fast as we can.